Hey, Motorman here. And if you follow this channel, you know I just got back from California for a Harley Davidson media event where we got to test ride the brand new Nightster 975. So stay tuned because I'm going to tell you all about that motorcycle. All right, folks, here it is. The Nightster 975. It's the Revolution motor. It is, of course, water-cooled or liquid-cooled, as they say now. And the styling is very similar to previous Sportsters. That's a good thing because I always thought the Sportster was a really good-looking motorcycle. The seat, by the way, is night and day above older Sportster models. And that is not a tank you see there. That's an air box. The gas tank actually resides under the seat. It holds 3.1 gallons of fuel. And that keeps the center of gravity very low on this motorcycle. MSRP, by the way, $13,499. Add another $400 for the red or the gunship gray. LED lighting all the way around. Can you imagine that? Yes, it's true. LED lighting all the way around. Seat height is a low 27 inches off the ground. Just about any normal rider is going to be able to flat foot this bike. And it only weighs 480 pounds. That's 80 pounds lighter than the previous Sportster models. You can really feel it when you lift it off the kickstand. You almost want to toss it over to the other side. Suspension, about 3 inches of travel in the back. You got a 32-degree lean angle. Now keep in mind with that lean angle, that's when the pegs start to touch the ground. That's the 32 degrees. However, the pegs fold up so you can get a considerable more lean angle out of this bike than you could any of the older Sportsters, which usually had about a 24, 25 degree lean angle. On the right side on the older Sportsters, you'd be hitting the bottom of the muffler when you leaned over too far. On this bike, the muffler sits up, so I don't think that'll be a problem. As I set out from the hotel, driving through the beautiful downtown area of Santa Monica, California, which is about 80 miles south of LA, the first thing I notice about this motorcycle is the smoothness. The ride is just, I couldn't ask for better on this type of motorcycle. It is on the firm side, but that's what this type of motorcycle is about. However, as compared to the older Sportster models, and I have one, I've got a 2012 that we use for a training bike sitting in my garage, and you ride that bike, you feel every bump, and they bottom out almost immediately, especially with the 200-pound weight rider on it. But that wasn't the case with this bike. This is a thoroughly modern, refined motorcycle, especially as compared to the older Sportsters. This is a great city bike or a commuter. Very narrow, lightweight, and all kinds of power. 90 horsepower, 70 pounds-feet of torque. It'll move up away from traffic instantaneously. And like I said, the ride is very supple for this type of motorcycle. In just a few minutes, we're going to head up to the Twisties where this bike really comes into its own. Up in the mountains surrounding Santa Monica, this is what this bike was made for. This is where you can really have fun with this bike. Plenty of lean angle. As I said, 32 degrees, but if you scrape the pegs, they fold right up. Bike turns in immediately, reacts to the handlebars, almost like a sport bike. As I said, I call this bike, this type of motorcycle, a sport cruiser. Much better in this respect than the previous Sportster models, which were there really wasn't much sport in the Sportsters. You couldn't lean them too far. 24, 25 degrees lean angle is virtually nothing. And if you went too far, you could lever a tire off the ground because on the right side, the exhaust would hit. That's not the case on this motorcycle. Point and shoot. Bike goes wherever you want it to go. The riding position, as you can see, is slightly leaned forward into the wind, which is a good thing without a windshield on the motorcycle. And I have to say that that little fairing does a real good job of blocking some of the wind to your chest area. And I had no helmet buffeting that I noticed at all. And we got into speeds up to 70, 75 miles an hour. It would be one thing I'd change. If it were my bike, I want a little bit more pullback from the risers, or bars with a little bit more pullback for a more upright position. But let's face it, this bike isn't built for long distance touring or comfort being the main thing of this type of bike. This is a sport cruiser. It's for riding roads like this, and in that position it's just fine. The seat comfort really amazed me because the seat doesn't look really too thick, but as compared to the old Sportster, it was a dream come true. We rode about 100 miles, 150 miles that day, and at the very end of the ride, maybe some slight discomfort, but that stock seat is just fine. The riding position just fine. You want to make a bike like this your own and make it comfortable for you. If it were mine, that's what one of the changes I'd make would be some pullbacks so that you're not leaning forward and putting pressure on your hands the whole time. Speaking of which, there was virtually no vibration. I'm very sensitive to vibration coming through the bars. My hands tend to get a little tingly and start to fall asleep on some motorcycles, but that wasn't the case with this bike. The motor is smooth. You could definitely feel the motor, and you know that it's a V-twin, but no low or high frequency vibrations that will put your hands to sleep. At least it didn't with me. Totally fun motorcycle to ride, like I said, in the city or on roads like this. Unfortunately, here in Florida, we have almost no roads like this, no mountains at all. But we do have some big bends and occasionally some S-turns here and there. And that's the type of roads I would seek out when riding this motorcycle. This motor revs to 9,000 RPMs. Most of the road that you're seeing here, I was in second and third gear. Occasionally would go into fourth gear, but it's a wide range gearbox, and second and third were all you needed. It's coming around these turns somewhere around 6,000, 7,000 RPM, no problem at all. Clutch is very light, and the transmission shifts extremely smoothly, more like a Japanese or European bike in that respect. So my opinion of this motorcycle is Harley's got a winner on their hands. It's a fun motorcycle to ride. It's got all kinds of power. Doesn't matter if you're at low speeds or high speeds, fifth gear, sixth gear. It's got the torque. You don't have to downshift if you don't want to, but if you do downshift, it's a pleasure to do so. The gearbox is that smooth. The roads, of course, as you can see here, were just perfect for this type of motorcycle. If you're ever out in California, I highly recommend this area. But overall, this is a fun ride. It's a great commuter. It's great for tearing up the twisties, and you can't go wrong with buying a motorcycle like this. If fun is at the top of your page, this is the bike for you.